Thursday, December 8th, Simon Bay, not far from the Cape of Good Hope. Romain Tanazio is repairing his routers without any assistance, which otherwise would entail his disqualification. Here are the two routers I was able to extort. It's great. Honestly, that's what I was fearing the most, not to be able to pull them out. So one is completely ruined, the starboard. No, sorry, the board side. One, the starboard isn't too badly damaged. 2.5 days at stop for Romain, who above all didn't want to abandon the race. 2 full days non-stop to stratify his routers and repair peeling on the hull. We're ready to go. I'm just waiting for the glue to dry on my carbon plates. I'm waiting another hour. Afterwards, I'll whale. Everything's ready. There's wind, serious wind. We're on the wind, it's choppy. Out for war now. It's hot start. Romain is back in the race in last position, 12,500 kilometers behind the leader ARMEL CLEACH. The exact distance between Paris and Alice Springs in the heart of Australia. 12,500 kilometers for 22 solitaries spread over 2 oceans, the Indian and the Pacific, south, right on the edge of the Antarctic ices. Yesterday noon, we crossed the Cape Lewin, south of Australia. So now we're under Australia, and next stage is Tasmania. And that's marking the split between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. There's a lot of wind today, 35 knots with gusts at about 40 knots. The front will be passing soon, will turn southwestward in a few hours. Everything's fine, a little tiring because strong winds are here for the next days. The Great South in all its outrageousness, with its string of depressions falling invariably overall, chaotic sea, sneaky breakers, in other words, everyone's in the same boat, so to speak. So this morning, we're in the 40th. I don't know if you can see behind me. The sea isn't huge, just a bit untidy. It's war out there. Happy holidays, they wished me when I left the Figaro. Yeah, right. Did you see where we are?
It's 4 degrees centigrade in the cockpit.
Wow.
My, oh my. It's hammering. How fast are we? 25 knots? 27? Means gonna have to reef. Yeah. First layer, the overalls, the boots with their gaiters, the jacket with the sleeves, the collar and the hood. That's it. Ready to sail into the arena. It's the battle dress. Let's go. To reef, jibe, go about, make more sail. Just as many tiring maneuvers for man alone, especially under those latitudes. Maneuvers that can last hours. And then there's speed. Speed is a skipper's friend as well as its foe. Friend for gliding, for the ranking, its enemy for the stress it originates, the risk it entails, and it's even harder at night.
The boat's flying down waves at 30 knots sometimes before coming to an almost complete standstill, and it just means that you're being thrown around all over the place. You can hear the water rushing over the deck, and it's now that your mind starts to wonder what's going to happen. What happens if the structure fails? What happens if you hit something? I do wonder why I do it sometimes.
34th day of the race, while leading ARMEL CLEACH widens the gap by 190 miles with his direct opponent Alex Thompson. They just passed the south of New Zealand. Further back, it's time for a breather after a long sequence of lows. Sunshine, blue sky. Gosh, that feels good. I was closed in my cage for the last 3 days. It's great. Moving along really well, but after 3 days in the doghouse, it was going around in circles. So it feels good to get some fresh air. Even if after 3 days of runs and sprints, there are a lot of couple things, little things that are broken, rubbed, little stuff inherent to the sustained rhythm. Solitary racing, and especially the Vendée Globe, is a complete sport. No weakness is allowed. You gotta be able to solve any problems, whether sporting, tactical, or technical. And for Thomas Rouillon, since he entered the Indian Ocean, damages have become his daily lot.
Bon voilà, j'ai du coup une grosse galère. Ouah.
Oh, this is a real pain. I've got the snorkel that cut open the hawse bottom. So I have a great water ingress. So I jibed and closed off the hole with an oilskin for the moment. Bummer. We've got 45 knots, and it's not getting any better. Gosh darn it! I seem to be collecting them. Problems with a traveler, with sail battens for which he had to climb up the mast, close off another water ingress. Thomas spent a tremendous amount of energy to stay in the race. Last stage of repairs. I was waiting to be on port tacked to do the job. So I closed off the hole, tried to do as clean a stratification as possible, and normally it should hold until Les Sables d'Olonne. At the 37th day of the race, Le CLEACH, Thompson, Meillat, and BEYOU are already in the Pacific South, but a huge storm may redistribute the cards for the pursuers. This southern depression is closing the entrance to the Pacific from the south of Australia to the Antarctic. It should pass on quickly, but it's going to be violent. We're expecting gusts of up to 50, 60 knots. It's sure that with SMA, we're better positioned than Yan is, I would say. These are violent phenomena that speed up below New Zealand. Right there below New Zealand, at the bad time, shall we say. So, I'm going to have to manage. No fooling around. Wind will pick up quickly, so I'll have to be able to lower the sails fast without any hitches. In facing this rough weather, Yann Eliès, Jean-Pierre Dick, and Jean Le Cam have taken radically different options. Jean Le Cam, while slowing down, remains southward. Jean-Pierre intends to cross the Bass Strait. Yann Eliès remains in the center. It's true. I haven't been very talkative lately. Well, simply because I was quite worried. And still am about the conditions we encounter. I had been slowing down the last 2 days, and it's true, I was too far ahead of Jean-Pierre Dick to cross Tasmania. I had called him. We had talked about it, and I had told him my intent was to cross southward. I hope it all goes well for him and for myself. Whoa. Oh my. It's hammering. Wow. 47 knots. With hail. Oh, come on, my friend. Managing the storm is mostly getting out of it. I want to have the least speed compared to the waves. If you don't have enough speed in relation to the event, it's going to take over. But then again, you can't go too fast either. It's a silly game. 2 degrees near of the pilot setting and you're screwed. And then you're in real trouble. The Austral storm is worthy of its reputation with peaks of 70 knots, 7 to 8 meter troughs of the sea, and rock waves abreast. I got whacked by a wave the first time. I ended up with my head in the planking across. I went under the chart table. Ended with the face on the opposite side. And the 2 other times, I felt it coming, so I lay in front of the chart table, held onto it with one hand, so not to end on the other side. It's starting to weigh on me. I'm sick and tired of having to manage these kind of situations, while my buddies, they don't bother with those things, those considerations. Well, that's the way it is, huh? In the end, it's Jean Le Cam who comes out the nicest. His option south allowed him to get within 30 miles behind Yann Eliès, and mostly move up a place in the ranking, and gain a good 100 miles on Jean-Pierre Dick, who chose to pass between Australia and Tasmania. Land! Land! There you can see Tasmania. Here, the COLMAN Group Islands. Here I'm in the Bass Strait. The oriental part. Lots of waves, very impressive. This incredible option will have cost him no less than 500 miles, a detour of almost 1,000 kilometers, the price for safety. It's not at all over. Well, be careful, huh? Here, we're in a phase. We've let things go by. Now we're moving back towards the depression in the wavy zones, following up the depression, which doesn't mean there won't be any wind in there. It's quite tough. The depression, which is quickly moving eastward, should push Jérémie, BEYOU and Paul Meillat towards the two leaders who've been slowed down by a great windless bubble right on their trajectory. In terms of strategy, the coming days are going to be a little complicated. I'm going to switch rhythms a little, change to a calmer mode, which will allow me to breathe, rest, and also do some maintenance. There are a couple little things to attend to. Nothing too serious, but I'm going to have to do it. So the boat is 100% effective for what's to come next. Next is to keep Alex Thompson in the rearview mirror, avoid braking above all, and cross the Cape Horn leading by far on Christmas Day. To each their own race, this 8th edition could also be called the Vendée Globes. So much are performances, motivations, and stories different.
A Vendée Globe,
The Vendée Globe, you try to win, or end at least. Gonna have trouble catching up with Armel and Alex, so the objective now is to finish the race, hang on to this dream, navigating in this impressive wilderness. The Indian Ocean is really something.
C'est quand même quelque chose.
12,500 kilometers away from the leaders, Romain Athanasiou is back in the race thanks to his persistence. So friends, I'm moving along, reaching at 35 knots. 35 knots winds and the boat is at 22, 23 knots. I'm going to shorten the sails a little because gotta watch the equipment. We're in the south, it's windy and it's cold.